Right there. Oh, that's perfect. Nice jacket.
I think it's a lady's jacket, but
I
not anymore. Or
think a
sort
lady's
of.
wearing
Not anymore, or sort of.
it. Yeah. It's a lady boy's jacket.
If you think it's a lady's jacket, you know it's a goddamn lady's jacket. Don't act like you don't know.
I'm comfortable in my own skin. Bigger than I probably should be for my age.
Well, I think it looks beautiful on you, actually.
Right. A lot happened since we last talked? Not for
Oh yeah,
me.
politically, it's blowing up.
It's really crazy out there. What about
Yeah.
this crazy political situation, huh?
Trump's an embarrassment, man. Can you believe the shit he did this? He did.
Unbelievable, dude.
Al-
Of all the things, of all the shit he's done so far, I thought that's it. We've reached a bottom. But now this week, look at him. You know what I
Ah,
mean?
That new thing.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
that's the new that's the new evergreen. Man, Trump's a fucking what a dipshit. Can you believe that shit? Oh my god. They might as well put the Constitution into the fucking glory hole bottom. That didn't
So
come. That didn't.
cheers.
That
I'm having my
constitutionally came out wrong.
I'm
Yeah.
having my first
How,
Bloody Mary of 2020.
how was Mexico?
Oh, great. Great, great.
You don't look tan. Maybe you'll look more tan next week.
Yeah, well, it takes a while for the tan to set in.
It's a lazy tan. Is that what you're
I'm
saying?
from yeah, yeah. I'm from the lazy part of the
Those
Caucasus
those
Mountains or whatever.
Mexican tans take forever to show up.
I mean, when it does get there, it's great work.
Great work.
But
It's
yeah,
worth every penny. It
Oh,
was worth the trip down to the
Well,
Home Depot to get it.
well, I see somebody got the memo about getting sunscreen on and being aware of
Yeah,
skin cancer risk. Put a hat on if you're going to be out in the
that's
Mexican sun.
absolutely true. I stand by that actually. When I was working outside as a laborer, I was the one fucking old white guy on the crew that was slathering up in sunblock every day, and the rest of them, they're out. We're like building swimming pools, right? And these fucking 20-year-old guys are out, shirts ripped off, just like, yeah, I gotta get suntan. Like, dude, we're literally building a steel bowl around us, so the sun is fucking shining onto these steel walls and reflecting back. Like you're just in an oven. And they would just get fucking sunburn red. It's like you're gonna regret that someday, young man.
in
You are
40
gonna regret.
years, son, you're
Yeah,
gonna look
yeah.
back
They're
on
like,
today.
shut up, Gramps.
I've always been the
All
kind
right.
of white that wanted to wear long sleeve shirts in the sun.
Yeah. The ears is what you got to fucking take care of with the sunblock. That's where you want it
There's
when you're outside working because that's where your skin cancer is going to grow.
that's
You know,
old
fucking
man
young-
Erickson right there. It's
That's it.
the
You
ears, son.
get those ears. They're always exposed. You wear a ball cap, you think you're covering your head, but your ears are out there just getting cooked.
See that shit? Fucking Inman the squirrel is planting peanuts right up here on the deck.
Yeah, well, he wants to be near his friend.
Yeah. Like I'm not even gonna remind him to be up here looking for more food. And like, there's one around here. You just think about it. But I'm not telling you, bro.
Uh,
Having
You
a
got
rough
it.
time there with your Bloody Mary? Eric?
Spicy.
Did you
Doing a
gain
little
weight
too
in
much
Mexico?
It's
spice.
been, dude, that's that's an all-inclusive place. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Somebody avoided the water there, I take
Yeah.
it. But not the buffet. Holy shit.
You can't. No matter which way you turn, there's a buffet staring you straight in the face. You know what I mean? Yeah.
The whole world's a cracker barrel. You just got to take it.
Everything's covered in cheese.
Hey, Andy, any turkey updates?
No, they still seem to be smoking. They were in my backyard the other day, and I ran them out with a hose and I made them fly. It's like, we're trying to run an Airbnb, not have turkey shit all,
Oh
can't have it
man,
now. Now that
you don't.
we have guests and we don't, we're like
Business
Disneyland. They're not people who are staying in our room. They're guests.
Yeah. But that seems like that could be an added attraction to your
Yeah, roll that
Airbnb. You
into
know,
the
wild
experience.
turkeys.
Well,
Yeah,
if
the
the
wild
dog
turkey
comes up, the
experience.
dog has a tendency to lick up in the turkey shit. And I always say the
That's
same
no
thing.
good.
It's like, why do I even bother feeding you? This is what's going on, man. Let's just go to our natural form. You lap up turkey shit, and I won't feed you. So, we got that going on. But I can't, maybe a guest would like that. It's
Yeah.
like, here, look at that turkey shit. Don't worry about it. Riley, come here. Come here.
That could be your attraction, the turkey
Right.
shit eating dog.
Right.
Train
Well, yeah, maybe in the summer. I think it's, kind of a hazard with the rain and the ice and
Uh,
everything.
It saves you the trouble of scooping it up yourself if you've got people in your backyard, you know? I
Yeah.
think it's a perfect
Well,
situation.
yeah, it's like, I'm all about that, letting dogs shit lay where they, it's like, that's why you take them for walks,
Oh, you just,
Oh, you're
I
one of
can't
those
do
guys.
that, dude.
No,
Yeah, I'm in West Hollywood. I
I pick it
cannot.
up if people are looking. Or, I mean, I reprimand her for her choice of spots sometimes. And it's really hard to explain to a neighbor, look, I already cleaned up 3 times after her shit. I didn't know she was withholding a 4th one for your prized lawn. But there's also wild turkeys in the neighborhood, so let's just get a little more liberal, okay? You put up your Andrew Yang signs and you're upset with me? Come on.
I think even Andrew Yang doesn't want dogs shitting on their lawn.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he'll eat them.
I just yelled at my neighbor down the road the other day because there's been a dog shitting in my yard, and for the first time I saw him walking by, and they had one dog on a leash and then one that's just running into everybody's yards, making everybody's fucking dogs go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, hey, is that your dog that's off leash there too? And he's like, yeah. And I go, well, that's the motherfucker that keeps shitting in my yard, which is probably not the way I was supposed to be talking to neighbors.
It would be the quietest place in the world would be as if Bisbee had no dogs.
There's
There'd be no
dogs
fucking
everywhere
noise.
around
Yeah.
my place.
It's like one dog that makes noise and then it fucking sets off the choir of dogs.
Well, that's how you know where the javelinas are, by which dogs are barking,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Yeah.
and I don't mind the bark. Dogs bark, but they don't have to come in my yard. I have to go. I have a big yard, and I
That's
have to
2
go
different
through there.
things.
I have to go through there and hunt dog shit all the time and pick it up and throw it in the garbage.
No
I don't
good.
Oh,
even
I
go
can't
out into my
imagine being
driveway.
that. I can't imagine being that nervy to let my dog shit on Chad Shank's yard.
And then after I yelled at him, he tells me, he goes, well, we're renting, so I can't make a fence, so I'll do my best. And I wanted to yell back, well, I'm going to do my best not to shoot your fucking dog in the head if he's shitting in my yard, but I didn't do that.
If I saw Chad Shank in a picture window watching my dog shit in the yard, I would go bare fist that shit and then reprimand the dog.
Beat that dog with a shit fist all the way out of the yard.
And then I would go wipe it on the lawn up the way without a Chad Shank in the window.
Yeah, he wasn't adequately afraid.
Yeah.
So,
Andy, I actually see you, like, if your dog is shitting in Chad's yard and Andy sees Chad up in the window, I see Chad just abandon the dog and start serpentine running. Hey, you got a fucking serpentine. That's the only way not to get shot. So.
Yeah, I totally I approach it like it's not my dog when we're out in public. Same as,
Why can't you just be a responsible dog owner, Andy?
Well, sometimes she shits in the road, and that's more of a city problem.
I might allow that.
Yeah, she's like,
All right. I'll
technically
give
we're
you
in
that
a
one.
in a
It's
real gray
dangerous.
area.
With all those chip trucks going by, you don't want to
Yeah.
run out into the middle of the road and
Also,
pick up your
open
dog's shit.
lots. It's open lot, or if a home's for sale. So it's like there's a real owner,
Nothing
Here's a
gets
little
by me like a
flip.
big steamy pile of shit.
there's
right
a
on
real
the
ownership
fucking
issue here.
Boulevard strip.
Well, I'm
Welcome
not
to the
trying
neighborhood.
Somebody's
to
job to sell that place, and Andy's just letting his dog shit all over it.
That's the snapshot you need of the the sign in the yard with the house in the background, the beautiful house, and then Andy's dog just hunched over right in front of it, just dropping a deuce in the middle of the yard. Like, yeah, fuck yeah.
Oh, well, here's a good situation is there's an asshole neighbor who, well, they're all assholes in my opinion, but this group, they park down here and they don't, fuck you. They all say the same thing. It's like, it's a public street. We can park where we want to. Okay, well, it's a nuisance. And anyway, this guy backed out and then ended up in a ditch. And then his other asshole friend is tugging him out of the ditch and fucking up a lot of shit, in my opinion. It was very annoying. And I go, how'd this shit happen? Anyway, and the guy is in a fucking San Francisco Niners jersey. It's all drunk and said, he tried to explain it, but I know it's like he's drunk and he tried blasting out of the driveway and he ended up in the ditch. There's not much that needs to be said, in that situation. But while they were trying to get out of the ditch, I noticed one of them slipped into a pile of dog shit that my dog had left there. And I knew what had happened, and I knew there was a pile of shit there because we were in the middle of a game of fetch, and she took a shit in an area that I don't need to clean up necessarily, and I don't expect anybody to be in the ditch. But I knew what was going on because the wiffle ball was right there, and then this guy slipped, and then his hand's in it, and he's like cursing on top. He's already fucking mad anyway, and then he just slipped in dog shit. And I was like I was gonna tell him why I didn't want him parking there, but I decided I'll just sit on it for a day or two, maybe put a note on it. Yeah, this is just a sample of my powers, dude. Do you really want to keep infringing on my shit? We can get along.
What a well-laid trap, Andy.
That was situations where we can get along as neighbors and things will work out for you. Or you can fuck with me and you'll end up with the poison and you'll die. That's just two squirrels that live near me that,
I thought you were talking about you and the squirrel.
No, well, this one, but then the other one that came up and stole, was, like a squirrel like that could have stole weed or, it's just, and it ate that mouse poison. This was a while back.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I was worried it was this one, but it could have been that one. It doesn't,
Yeah, you can't tell them apart yet, can you?
No, I need to put like a hot knife on its head to create a.
You want to start branding your squirrels?
I don't think it'll come back, Andy, if you do that.
I got to create a scar or some sort of
Andy
like
takes
an
a
A.
an A, yeah.
Yeah, branded. It's my squirrel as opposed to a free range or one I like to track him and keep scientific data on the number of peanuts he seems to be planting this year.
I love that the first thing you go to is pushing a scalding hot butter knife into the face of a squirrel. Not like, hey, how about a little like nail polish on one of the on the tip of one ear or something.
Oh, those guys, they wear that right out.
You can Pepe Le Pew stripe it right down the back.
Yeah, something.
I don't know if this works, but my brother said if you hang a dead squirrel upside down, and it'll keep other squirrels from bothering you.
What? Who is your brother, Huck Finn?
That's coming from Larry. He said I think it was to protect the bird feeder was the context, or he might have just been tripping on some meth, or you don't trip on meth, you just get chatty. and scientific. He gets very scientific.
So his thing is if you kill one of them and then stake it in a upside down position, the squirrel's gonna actually see that, process it, that this is danger when you've left an entire bowl full of food out in the winter. So they're gonna go, well, yeah.
This goes back. This is Larry, and he also had Barbie doll heads hanging in the house of my folks' house in the basement. He had there was strings with, I didn't, I think it was dental floss. We never really investigated it. I was like, it's like, holy shit, it's like, this is, it's like a bunch of doll heads hanging
an altar of some kind.
Just doll heads hanging. Yeah. Kind of like that's you know, immediately.
Did it keep a lot of dolls away?
Well,
there were no other dolls in the vicinity.
I think David presented them to Larry because we were evicting him. One of the times we evicted him, and we had all this shit, and we took the doll heads, and I think David gave them to him, and Larry said those are down there to keep people from breaking in. And I think the general consensus was, if you're not living here, we probably don't need doll heads to repel those. You know, we probably won't get those travelers here anymore. It's very fucking weird, and you know, he had a reason for it, same as probably the squirrel. You know, I guess if you present death, it does tend to make anything a little squirrely.
It sounds to me like he just reworked an old like racist joke where, like, you know how to keep insert race out of your backyard, hang one in your front yard.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I don't think Larry would be that subtle. He learned racism in prison.
Oh, the pure kind.
Yeah. Yep. In fact, he was kind of like the hero among, like, you know, his stories where he beat the shit out of the other colors in the rainbow. Like Larry was a tough
rainbow?
Guy. Yeah. A lot of yellows and no, I don't know. That's a color too. I didn't mean that. A lot of purples, a lot of violets.
There are no violets.
Larry beat up this. There was this big violet motherfucker looking at Larry in the shower, and Larry beat his ass. And then they called him Little Mean after that. All the Violet brothers call him Little Mean because he beat the shit out of the biggest, angriest Violet in prison. And this is Larry's version, and he never really did explain why he has Leroy tattooed on his ass in velvet, in violet. I meant violet. Violet Leroy says. But he said he was like Little Mean. I read one of his letters where he also referenced golden showers. But he wasn't giving them. He wasn't getting them. He was giving them. You know, it's like I'm not. You know, I don't have a lot to brag about with my family. But when Larry was in jail, he was considered to be a badass, according to him.
According to him. Not according to Violet Leroy.
Wait,
he does have a tattoo. He has a tattoo that looks like the guy on the zigzag. I think it was intended to look like Jesus, but it looks more like the zigzag guy. But
the zigzag papers,
rolling papers.
Yeah.
The Jesus.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get that when he's dead.
The tattoo.
I'll take it. I'll take that chunk of skin off of Larry, and that'll be, you know, put it.
So gross. Make it into a lampshade.
Well, make a belt buckle out of it.
Maybe a nightlight. It's small.
I wonder if Buffalo Bill just started with a button and couldn't stop himself, right?
Like, this is pretty cool.
Hey, you know, God darn it.
You know, it tends to go.
It's like how Lucy got into miniatures out there in Bisbee or whatever, you know. It's like it's the crafting, you know. Buffalo Bill was about. He didn't even murder. He only murdered people because he couldn't. He ran out of people to dig up, or, you know, he was one of those anomaly guys. He should have had a higher following, bigger following in the day, but he didn't really, you know. He was more of a grave robber than anything, right?
Back then, it was all word of mouth.
Right?
Yeah, it's hard to whip up enthusiasm when you got to do it one person at a time.
Yeah,
he should have been a grave robber. That's where he made his mistake, because that's why he got caught.
I had a plan that was I needed a grave robbers to really properly carry out, as I wanted to. It's where I used to live, and then the property sold, and then there was going to be 8 or 10 homes looking into my house, and so I wanted to start planning body parts, but I didn't want to murder. I was like Buffalo Bill, but less retarded, and I didn't want to murder people, but I wanted to have access to body parts. I was thinking, like, you know, maybe go take science classes.
Or maybe at the Evergreen Community College, a little little mortuary science.
But I wanted it. The plan was it was 2.5 acres, and if I could have, if I would have known a grave robber, I would have gotten a whole. I wanted to lay out a person over 2.5 acres, bury him, and then they would have excavated the property and found him, and it would have been newsworthy, and I would have really learned a lot about anatomy.
So your plan was to rob the graves of the recently dead or long dead, and then bury them on your property.
No, next door.
Next door.
Oh,
next
you had a 2-acre lot next door.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to slow. Well, I just didn't want the houses there, and I figured if it was a grave, I
realized that they build homes over old cemeteries.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't
They've done that.
My second plan to stop production there was I ate a bunch of golden plums and shit as much as possible on their new porta toilets. Not
only do you have your dog shitting in the yard, now you're shitting next to your dog.
I don't own firearms, so you take. I had to weaponize my body.
Thoreau would be fucking proud of your civil disobedience, Andy. They're trying to make a difference. Not everybody is, man.
And here's what I learned that day is when I got a bellyache and I shit in 6 different toilets, 1 up front and 5 in back, and I shit in all of them, and it hurt, and I kept eating them plums until they were all ruined up as much as possible. And then the Mexican guy who showed up first at the workplace went from toilet to toilet looking for a place where he could shit, and he had the same problem I would have had. Like, damn, man, you can't even grab anything because there's shit all over everything.
So your plan was to just smear it everywhere to where like they have to call a guy in to clean them.
Well, I was trying to,
I think he was trying to get the construction guys to just say, all right, let's just go home, and then nobody would ever move in next door.
Yeah.
Like
as Andy's stuffing more plums in his face.
I did try to unionize them, and that didn't work either.
This would make another fantastic cartoon episode of Issues with Andy, I'm telling you.
Listen, it's almost like a Scooby-Doo operation where instead of Andy dressing up like a ghost and pretending the place is haunted, he's just fucking shitting all over the place.
Well, I did that. I did
the monkey wrench gang, the fucking workers off the fucking thing.
I attacked the senses. I attacked all the senses that I could. The shitting all over stuff, trying to unionize them, and then I got an electric guitar. And whenever that guy would try to sell a property, I would go jam. I wouldn't jam. I would I would race out there and yell at my kid to get the camera or whatever, plug in the amp. She's just a kid, she's just like trying to enjoy her property or whatever. But I'm like, no way, man. We got to play some music. And it wasn't music. I had a guitar, and I saw an ad for, it was like, you can get a Fender amp and a guitar. It was $99. So I was like, and I raced out to Guitar Center and got that set up, and I never learned really to play it, so I probably could have had a hairband if only I could have got a Vince Neil-esque singer up front, not the fat one, the one in the day, and maybe I could have made some money. But I just would get into that thing and lean into the whammy bar and yell about the sale of the property, or that's my magnolia tree, motherfucker. And then you lean into that whammy bar, and so I attack the ears, the sense of smell, sense of I guess this, vision. You don't want to see golden plum shit all over your new toilets. But what they did is they just went and got new toilets. They just brought in new toilets.
Yeah.
Foiled again.
I think they thought it
now
was
you got to buy more plums.
I think they thought it was something more dangerous than just human shit. I don't know why they would,
That's the part of the cartoon where Andy would run in all mad and get on his whiteboard and start drawing up some new crazy plans.
Yeah. Here's where it was a real chess match. Is I was yelling at I was yelling at the guy, his khaki pants. I was real against khaki pants and light blue shirts back in those days. Go, hey, Tom, how's your day going, you fucking asshole, with your fucking khaki, And then later that afternoon, there was a crew of Hispanic fellas, violets or whatever, planting arborvitas. They were planted a whole row of arborvitae too deep to muffle me and hide my view.
Yeah.
So then I had to like walk around the corner to heckle that fucker every morning. But I felt like, it was like, it was a battle I was going to win, but I ended up losing it anyway.
It was a valiant effort.
Yeah, if they're putting up arborvitaes too deep to block you, they're sending a message.
Yeah.
They're sending a strong message.
Mm-hmm. And it was like that. It was like the Back to the Future when there was the signs that say homes coming in, and it would said homes starting at 500K. It's like, well, these guys are gonna suck. Yeah. Now I was like, it just ruined my whole it's like instead of having a private backyard with a greenhouse and a fence around it, and nobody could see me, private area where I could just sometimes you're putting on sunscreen and you're sunbathing and you go a little further than you anticipated. It's a nice hot day. And then I got to factor in, now I got 5 picture windows that are going to be seeing this, and I'm not really that, I don't get to pick and choose my neighbors,
Is that how nature jacking started? Like you're in your backyard, you realize everyone can see you. Now you got to go on a fucking hike.
Well, no, it started on a tribble gig with my brother, and we were at the we ended up in a glacier, but not my. That's how it started. All natural. I didn't go like, I got to find a place to jerk off because these neighbors are going to start, I'm going to get
too much sunscreen again. What do I do now?
I do like that Andy looked at the situation where homes in his neighborhood are going to go up to $500,000 each, and thought to himself, I cannot have this. I need to masturbate in my backyard. I cannot have these fucking rich asshole douchebags around me while I am masturbating.
Yeah.
$500,000 home is
I didn't think of
the neighborhood.
The only thing I can do is eat all of these plums and shit everywhere. That should fucking do it.
It didn't bother me when it was just the workers out there, because hey, we're all out here just trying to enjoy the day, make a few dollars. I just didn't want a picture window, if somebody's hanging off a roof, putting down roofing tiles or whatever, and I just happen to have too much oil on my hand. Well, so be it. I'm not an exhibitionist, and he shouldn't be watching, but we're both trying to get something done, trying to get our day done.
Yeah. Keep your eyes on your shingles, pal.
Yeah.
I like that when people were going to move in and you wanted them not to, you handled it like a crow. You fucking ate as much garbage as you could, and then you'd fucking shit everywhere.
No, those golden plums are actually really good, but you find the ones that were on the ground and look like a vagina, seeping a little moisture out of them, purple.
So like a bird, you ate a bunch of fucking fruit that had fallen onto the road and broken open. Yeah, and then you fucking flew up in the air and you shit all over my car.
I saw those toilets I saw those toilets being delivered, and I raised a murder of other like-minded citizens.
You raised a murder.
And we decided it was early in the morning and I could suck down a lot of those plums. Some toilets were just getting dropped off, and I think I was more, I don't know if I had more of a bellyache or I was more drunk, because I was drinking the ones that were kind of rotted, so they were already fermented a little bit. So it was kind of the perfect plan, I wish I would have had different
perfect.
Can we go back to the first part where you said we? I want to know who else is eating plums and shitting on stuff.
Who else is fruit from the ground? Who else is in your murder of Andes?
I couldn't. There was a group home that had special needs adults. I could never really work. I just made them. There's one who kept coming up in my yard. I turned the sprinkler on him, and let me explain that. I didn't do it cruelly. He would come up into the driveway, and he would come up and show me his Olympic medal, and I don't think it was current. I don't think it was current. It was like, you know, if there could be dust on a medal, there would have been dust on it. But he would show me the medal, and then the cat would follow him, and then he, you know, so I couldn't have that. So one time I turned the sprinkler on him. Lesson learned. But as it turned out, I could have used a sidekick in my golden plum scam. Hey, that medal's from 5 years ago. You want a golden plum? Now drink a whole smoothie of them and follow me. I could have done it, you know.
Oh my God. People live there right now. People moved into that area.
Oh yeah, where my house is. So there was like 7 homes or whatever on that fence line, and then we had to leave because I you know, nobody thought I was going to get better at guitar.
We know why you had
And
to
my
leave.
political rants on small town politics and codes and zoning. It seemed like I was losing the audience, and it was an audience. It was an audience of 2, and they'd stop listening really, and you kind of can tell, you know, you're getting the light, but you maybe you're not getting the light. You think you see the light, you know, or whatever. But I could see the light fading, and they didn't want to stick it out with me. They knew my guitar situation wasn't going to lead to any gigs. So we moved away from there, and now where I live, that home is still there, but then that property got developed, and there's 2 big giant homes where I used to plot my strategy on the other ones.
Yeah.
My greenhouse.
Well, you fought a good fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, good job. The poor person that lost is just the one that had to clean up all of those fucking porta shitters who had absolutely nothing to do with the construction of the fucking. That's the only real loser.
And many years
they're just glad to be in the country.
Many years later, a very drunk me, drunk driving and handing out beer to the homeless on Christmas Eve, went down that street. It's called, well, I'm not going to name the street now because this is a crime.
Yeah, don't do it.
But it's
I'm sure the statute of limitations is up, but that's fine. Don't name the street.
Just by the title alone, it would imply more of a sweeping turn, but it's not. It's when you have to kind of in and out and back around. But there's all these homes on one side and all these homes on the other. And I you know, kind of did a little Christmas Grinch situation, and then I handed them out to the less fortunate. A little Robin Hood situation. I spread Christmas cheer, and I robbed the $500,000 plus homes that ruined that was my, you know, first Christmas away from that house. And I felt like ruining some shit.
So wait, explain this again.
I went back a year later after the homes had sold and they had all Christmas decorations. And I pretty much, it started off with, I was handing out beer to the homeless, and then I stopped and did a few too many shots, and I got high with a couple guys, and then, anyway, I was fucked up, and then I went and I took a Santa and several wreaths.
Drunk asshole. Dude, we used to steal Christmas decorations in junior high. You know what I mean? Like
that's why this Trump era is bad. It empowers. Like I shouldn't have been doing that. I get that now. It was wrong. I felt like, fuck these assholes. Fuck these motherfuckers. This is where I lived for years. I used to ride my bike over, you know, it's like I had a sense of entitlement. But I realized, shit, I probably somewhere along the line took this from the Indians.
Right.
Somewhere.
But you were the next indigenous people on that land, and that was your people's land. And then
I loved it like an Indian. I loved it like an Indian. I killed anything that entered the property and jerked off all over it. And I banged it on then.
I was gonna say you treated them like you were an Indian. You just got really drunk and failed at stopping them.
Well, I did. I ran some illegal bingo. I drink like a Native American. I know that, you know, but not these new ones. I mean, you know, a throwback. Not that far, but right after that.
Yeah. Firewater.
After that, bury my heart at Bended Knee thing.
Bended
knee.
That's the Colin Kaepernick musical.
That's yeah. Fuck.
Yeah, that Trump's a dumb fuck, huh?
Yeah, I can't believe what he did.
Stupid. Whatever. I'm just glad there's only it'd be one less week. Anyway.
I know. These are the moments. These are the best moments of the podcast when we're all just like, all right, now what? And then we're just kind of quiet. And then you guys smoke immediately because there's a pause. And then I don't know what to do, so I take a drink.
As soon as this thing wraps up, I'll be back. I'll be like, open that door, and the cult will have returned.
Yeah.
So I'm just hitting an exit.
Oh,
That's what happened.
Do you have a guest this week, Andy?
We had one. They just left. I had to do a Shaley situation. There was a fucking, our kitchen was flooding from the guests taking showers. I thought, okay. I thought she was in the tub, so I'm hoping it's a fat chick, so I can assume it's like some sort of overflow. But then I walked by her car. I saw her car, and she had dried cranberries up front as a snack. So I'm like, no, she's not fat. And then she wasn't fat at all, but it was a caulking issue.
It always is. It always is with you.
Yeah. So it was a head and caulking. So I got it in after she left and turned on the shower head, and it was spraying all fucking sideways and shit. And then there was a spot where the caulking was needed to be redone, so it was draining into our kitchen. So I fixed it after the guest. We shut it down like I John Tappered it. I said, whoa. We can't have people up here masturbating in the tub, even if they're thin. Even a thin person is going to be throwing water down on our kitchen, and that's where I keep my coffee right there. I'm having people's bath water drip down in my coffee, and that's some sick shit. I might be a would-be grave robber. Some people shit up a public toilet, or not a public, a private toilet, but that's some sick shit.
I think he was just looking for a reason to go snoop around in her car.
Bust in on her bath. I'm sorry, ma'am. I've got an issue with caulk.
It's a caulk. It's a caulk thing. Sorry, it's a caulk thing.
Yeah,
just the head. Just the head.
Like the guy handyman on Newhart, walking around with my coveralls and tools. Got a screwdriver. Let me get that. The other Newhart.
Tom Poston.
Tom Poston.
Oh, I thought you were thinking of Snyder from One Day at a Time.
Oh, yeah, that would have been a better.
Newhart wouldn't have been associated with that drivel.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, Schneider was too ethnic for Bob Newhart.
Yeah.
Schneider was. It's like, oh, good times worked. Let's try it with, some other weird minorities, or
let's do it with white trash.
Yeah, white trash. Yeah. Well, they were only white trash because the dude who loved them left.
Yeah. She was a whore.
What happened with that? Where's Daddy? Why is the handyman even have a shot? What's up, America?
It would be great if some of the old shows were all tied together, like the guy who left One Day at a Time family became the other dad in My Two Dads. Like, he left because he's secretly gay, and now he's got another family in San Francisco.
How about Mike from the Brady Bunch hooks up with the dad in Courtship of Eddie's father?
Brian Keith?
That's what I'm talking about.
Now Eddie has two fathers, and he spends a lot of time with Mrs. Livingston in the kitchen.
Wait, that was what's his name?
That show.
David
Bill
Banner.
Yeah, and he
Bill
was
Bixby.
so mad. He was so mad about how that kid turned out. He turned into the Hulk. Bill Bixby's show also could have been the Hulk could have tied in good with Kung Fu, because they were both just walking around trying to avoid trouble, and that's all they ran into. One guy would turn into a yellow demon, and the other into a green.
And then neither one of them had shoes on at the end.
Yeah.
I like best that you earlier used the word yellow in a slightly racist way and felt bad about it, and immediately cut off all fucking avenues of discussion in that area when you were talking about the rainbow of colors. But now you just called someone a yellow demon.
Well, that show in particular, they did a lot of that, and he was a halfer. He was a half and half. So they would call him a yellow devil or whatever. So people just saw yellow in him, and I always thought
I ever heard him say yellow devil on that show.
I did hear them say Chinese.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right. Maybe I'm, maybe I'm ad-libbing a little. Maybe I'm helping the writing room. What's
You're
that
just
called?
punching it up.
Yeah. Chinese, let's get, it's like John Taffer. He calls everybody asshole and you're failing, you're an asshole, and like mix it up a little bit with a couple of, you're failing like a fucking, fat cunt at a fuck, get a little more colorful in it, or, and that's what's needed. They needed that on that show. But here's the thing is all that guy wanted to do was go around, meet his half brother. And when I would watch that show, I was wondering if he was looking for an Oriental or a white guy. It's like it makes a big difference, Are you looking? Where are you looking, man?
I mean, was that his quest?
Yeah.
To find
it was his white brother.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was looking for his brother. Is that?
Yeah. I guess his brother had a gig or or whatever. Like, you can stay with me. I got a couch. So you just kick ass all the way through racist America with your barefoot fucking long hair self and don't want trouble anywhere, but can't resist the ladies neither. You avoid trouble, you avoid the ladies, Kung Fu.
It turns out your white brother was inside you the whole time.
I gotta watch some more Kung Fu. That's on Amazon Prime. Everybody watch Kung Fu. Goddamn.
Yeah, maybe he didn't even date the lady.
Subtle commercial, dude. Nice work.
Yeah,
we're sponsored this week by
well, listen,
Kung Fu.
I know this. I know this.
It's a trucker and a monkey. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with a trucker and a monkey.
That's the pitch for BJ and the Bear.
I can't believe they didn't make a second season because there were the sexual undertones of season one. It's like, will they or won't they? It was like moonlighting.
They're gonna kiss.
He's a trucker. What's he holding out for?
You just compared Greg Evigan and a monkey to Bruce Willis and fucking what's her name? In Moonlighting, Sybil Shepherd.
Sybil Shepherd, yeah.
Will they or won't they?
Not the Sybil Shepherd that Elvis hooked up with, the one from Moonlighting.
Oh my God!
The one they had to bring in special lighting crew to make her still look appealing. But that monkey didn't demand anything.
Yeah, W.C. Fields said don't work with animals or children, but in this case, the monkey was fine.
Well, you know why?
The monkey was the easiest one on the fucking whole crew to work with.
W.C. Fields was a notorious drunk, Probably, of course, he wanted to work with shit that wasn't going to fucking surprise him.
You only have to get your face torn off by one monkey before you start to come up with real opinions.
Kids and animals. I'm sure he didn't mind working with old white guys that drank as much as he did. Fuck that old racist piece of shit. His big red nose. He was an elitist, man. His fucking square. He had that fucking Monopoly guy hat. Didn't he have a Monaco too? I mean, why are you even quoting that motherfucker? He probably had an island of. He probably had an island of kids he was fucking. A whole field of them. White Children Fields. That's what they called him. That was his
White
moniker.
Children Fields.
Yeah.
White children.
He had no island. He had a plantation with a fence. And him and Colonel Sanders, they would rape everything that fucking crawled. If it crawled on four legs, they'd rape it. If it was on two, they'd kill it and fry it.
it's so rare that you can actually identify the moment that a weird conspiracy begins and is born. But this is it. It's a W.C. Fields conspiracy. And cancel culture is going to take W.C. Fields out now.
What? Children Fields? Jesus. Oh, fuck. You're killing me.
And if he was alive, he'd say, I don't remember it. I was drunk most of the time. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
He talked, he was actually, he's like a lot of douchebaggy guys. He was a composite of like part Newt Gingrich, part, there's a bunch of them. Side talking, who's that vice president? Not the fucking one who was making out with his granddaughter recently. The one who shot the guy. The good old. Remember when vice president
Dick Cheney?
Yeah, remember when a former vice president was out shooting friends in the side of the head, or current VP? This one's making out with his granddaughter in front of people in Iowa. Hey, I don't get. I know people get their kicks in different ways. Believe me, if I got off on making out with a granddaughter, or I even had one, I would take her to Iowa and do it in front of a bunch of fucking pre-caucus dullards getting ready to make up their opinion. Go, oh, these are undecideds. Let me make out with my baby granddaughter. That might sway a few fucking voters. You don't know anymore. People are so fucking warped. That might just put him over the top. And then some of the voters are like, he didn't use tongue. Trump put his tongue in the back of his own daughter's throat, and this guy won't even plunge his tongue down his granddaughter's throat. Come on.
You don't have what it takes to lead this great country.
Yeah, you can tell by the way he's mouth kissing his granddaughter. He ain't presidential.
Jeez.
He can't sell out our country. Shit.
I like that you called people from Iowa pre-caucus dullards. It's such an apt fucking adjective for that.
Who would do that? Like, I mean, could you imagine fucking Bisbee, Arizona has a caucus and Doug Stanhope shows up at the middle school gym to meet with neighbors and then go stand in assigned groups. And then, if that group doesn't work out, go stand in another assigned group. How many fucking people could do that? Iowa does it because they know once corn season's over, it's the only thing they got going. They go, let's stand in fucking groups and act like we're vital. When you're not vital, you're just, it's a group of white people standing in little cliques. Like, you don't see that at every nursing home. Fuck it, man.
These are the same people that thought square dancing was a good PE activity for the children. Let's get in groups. Let's dance around in circles. Now you're over there. Now you're in a different group. Look at that.
You know what that led to?
There should be a fiddle playing at the caucus.
I was a square dancer, square dancer, the first wave of it. You know what it led to? Rape culture. Forcing boys and girls in PE to do something like that. It's just a gateway, awkward pairing of the sexes. They didn't let us play scatterball or dodgeball with the ladies, but we had to line dance and we had to do that square dancing bullshit.
You could twirl your partner round and round.
Yeah, and was there any of them that said, "Ladies, take control of the man"? I don't remember that one. It was all about the dude driving the vehicle, spinning that bitch around, putting her in her place, and at the end of it, she ends up in the trunk of your car. I think I have that confused with river dance.
Yeah. You should have ended that with the Sean Rouse, "In my perfect world."
In my perfect. Yeah, I had a ballroom dance class, and it's like it's where if you're somebody's going to go on to be a dancer, you might enjoy that class. But if you're not, you get really good at saying really mean shit to your partner quietly, so other people don't notice it, about how fucking much you hate being there. That's what I learned in that. It's like,
did you go to like an Arthur Murray dance?
Yeah.
Or something?
Arthur
Were
Murray.
you trying to save your marriage? It didn't work.
No. This was
dancing.
No,
This will do it.
I think the Zoot Suit Riot had just hit the
Oh.
turntables around the country.
You were popping your cherry popping daddy's cassette into the.
I don't even know how it. No, it's like one of them things I went to a production of Cats. I don't know how I ended up there or any conversation that led up to it, but I was there. I know I was there, and like, what the fuck? I'll know I'll never do it again or whatever. Fool me once or whatever. But it's like one of those things. Why did I take that? I went to a tea party at Manners Camp with my daughter. It was just a bunch of mothers and me, and I had to give a spiel about what manners meant to me. It's like, well, it gives me a guideline to not pay attention to or whatever, to dismiss. I don't know, but I went to like a tea party.
That I think you buried the lead here. Manners Camp.
Yeah.
Your daughter went to a camp, like a week long or a weekend long camp.
Yeah, like
overnight canoeing and swimming, but also learning how to be polite.
Yeah, it's like, like kids these days don't know what that small fork's for. It's the ladies' version of get off my lawn. Look at the way she doesn't even use her napkin on her lap. These kids. So it was like that. I was like, and
like
then,
etiquette then, more etiquette than manners.
Yeah.
Manners. So
I think
I think that's how they commonize it. They bring it down to layman's terms. They don't want to say etiquette.
It's basically it was basically a tea party camp is what it was. They just had a daily tea party, and then they went around and some uptight cunt told them about,
knowing their place.
I know because the lady came and told me why I couldn't park where I parked. So I got kind of a gist.
And then you slipped in some dog shit, and the whole thing became a complete circle.
Excuse me, ma'am. Where's your restroom? I'll be right back. I just need to get rid of these plums.
Hang on,
and then you can harangue me all you want.
Hang on with that tea party. I got to go get my flask. I'll be right back after I smoke the rest of this doobie.
And back then they were called doobies.
Yeah. I saw the equivalent of Manners Camp in the same area where it's about 2 blocks away from where that Airbnb big, it's like a big, not like this. It's like a big, like a bed and breakfast place, but it's right on the edge of Shitville, where not Shitville, where disadvantaged campers that don't have camping permits camp on sidewalks by the road without toilets or amenities.
Like a homeless camp.
Yeah, and I saw the big grand sweep. I was like, man, it's like they're an accident or whatever, but they had full traffic blockage, and then they had a big blinking arrow that prevented people, and then they were just decamping, I think it's called. Decamping. It was like de-hoarding with way more people involved. It was like an episode of Hoarding where they rounded up cats, only these were people. And it was an area where you couldn't slow down, so I didn't get any pictures or anything. And I did wonder about where they were putting them or whatever, but they were rounding them up and trying to get them off. And I was like, well, I thought they were going to at least wait till he got reelected, but boy, they moved fast. The fucking fascism is like the fucking flu, man. It's all of a sudden just here. Good times. Yeah. That was where I really first got empathy for the first homeless person that I really got to know, because I'd see this guy and he'd go up this embankment and I'd wonder, is he sleeping up there? And I would park, it was a spot where I'd stop at a stoplight and I would see this guy. And then one day he'd come rolling out, and then he rolled, and I thought, it's like when you see an animal roll, it's like he's dead or whatever. And I had a light, and so but I'd see this guy all the time. So I think I called him Randy or whatever, but I don't know if he was Randy or not. But he looked like he was dead. And then I drove on I had to go to Costco or wherever, and I went to Costco, and then I come back, and then that guy was panhandling in his usual spot. I was like, oh, well, good, Randy made it. And now there's a lot more Randys, and they don't even panhandle because there's too many of them. They just try to live there on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
which I would choose a better camping spot for one.
Well, they're like violets, you know.
Yeah.
Once a few of them move in, and it just pretty soon it's all Randy's.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I feel about race. Is I'm just as fucked up and dirty as any other, tan skin. Shit, I'm racist against white people. I feel more
we're the worst.
I've seen more disgusting, self-centered, fucking self-serving bullshit, thieving, and that's just me.
In your family.
That's just me. I can't imagine what others like me do. It's disgusting. It'd be goddamn ridiculous. Every day's Black Friday when you're white trash.
I'm not sure that makes any sense, but
I know I was really
beautiful.
nervous about how it sounds way worse than it is.
It's got a beautiful, equal sort of math melody to it, but I'm not sure
about
it means
Black
anything.
Friday is you see all colors of people, right? There's blacks, there's whites, but mainly it's just the desperation of people, and it's more white people than anything. So if it was all black people, I think we wouldn't enjoy it at all. It'd be like, nah, they're just exploiting them. But it's like you see your own color represented doing that vile shit, doing a fucking meat gravy fucking parade, shoving other people to get to a fucking Xbox for their fucking treasures, take home to their fucking dropout treasures. Shit, Christmas. It's us,
Christmas.
Perfect ending to that
one. Bryan Adams said it worse. If every day could be like Christmas, what a fucking fiasco that would be, huh? Yeah. Fuck you, Bryan Adams. Wrong again.
God. Wrong again. Fuck you, Bryan Adams. Like you got some fucking.
No,
the summer of '69 wasn't all that fucking great, you asshole.
Well,
there were a lot of problems.
Well, yeah. And Bryan Adams was like a kid in the summer of '69, so it was like a cute little sexual thing. And I'll tell you, you eat a chick out, and she's sucking you the whole summer. No, no, I ain't buying it. That's why Bryan Adams' skin's all abrased and shit. He ate too much pussy one summer, and that's what he was like. That's where that song came from. His buddy noticed his face was getting all abrased. Said, "What are you doing all summer, Bryan? What are you eating that's making your face?" Found out that Canadian pussy unshaved can be pretty fucking acrylic or whatever.
That's bristly.
Yeah, bristly.
Abrasive.
Or acrylic.
Acrylic.
Tommy Lee Jones, summer of '69. Same.
Oh my God.
Same thing that happens to pro wrestlers when they take a razor to their forehead too much. I think. All right.
Blood match.
Yeah. Jimmy Snuka just used to do it all the time anyway. He was great. Jimmy Snuka was show up bleeding.
Yeah.
Superfly? You talking about Superfly?
Yeah,
Jimmy
Superfly.
Snuka.
Yeah. Broke handcuffs. Nobody mentions what he was arrested for, but he broke handcuffs.
Yeah. Before he was called Superfly, Jimmy Snuka, that just sounds like a pretty sketchy individual. You know what I mean? Like that name's attached to some
like if a bike
stories.
is missing in your neighborhood.
Yeah. Jimmy Snuka took it.
We'll go to Jimmy Snuka's. He didn't steal it. He knows who did.
Yes. Yeah. That's who fucking Starsky and Hutch go to talk to when they need to know what the word is on the street. We're going to go over to fucking Jimmy Snuka's place.
Superfly. Snitch.
There's a kid in our neighborhood when I right when I was I don't even know if I had bike yet. So it's pretty young. And there was a kid who was like of legend in our neighborhood. And this name just came up to me when you said Jimmy Snuka. Tell me if this kid wasn't the one responsible for when something was stolen. His name was Kelly Keller.
Oh man, yeah.
I mean, he used to jump trash cans on his bike, but they would stuff a kid in the last can.
Yeah.
I mean, these are the things you're scared of because you don't want to be stuffed in that can. Who knows if it ever happened? Yeah. But that name, Kelly Keller, man.
Wait, so they jumped the cans and then the last can had a kid stuck in it?
Yeah, just
so it's like upping the stakes?
Yeah. But it's like just to raise the stakes, you know?
That name reminds me of the kid who rode the motorcycle on Bad News Bears.
Yeah. Kelly
Lee.
I was thinking of this kid, Willie. I think his name was Willie Easley, and he disappeared somewhere around 6th grade, but he was like you could be a bully by just doing things. He could have, and he also was a tough guy too, but he bit a wart off and spit it in Mike Reeves's face.
Oh my!
And while
God.
he bit off a wart.
He bit off a wart.
Yeah. And so it's like you don't know if that guy's tough or not. But I'm like,
I'm going with tough.
Man. Yeah. I'm not gonna.
It's like when somebody's trying to prove himself and then stabs their own hand and doesn't show any pain. Like he bit a wart off. It's like, let's leave Willie alone. let's find easier prey. This guy's got some good defense mechanisms.
He's a wild card.
Yeah, he also pissed himself while fighting a guy and punching the guy, and he pissed himself. And it was like, while he was fighting, he pissed himself. And I don't know what his, he probably had, nowadays they call that mental problems. Back then.
They just called it dedication.
Well, I knew the two things about him is he bit a wart off and spit it in the guy's face that was bothering him. And he's fighting a guy, beating and winning, and he pissed himself. It's like, I'm not, there's nothing I can do to this guy. Yeah, it's the guy you take a bat to his head and he just smiles at you. Like, oh, I thought you were my dad. Schoolyard bullies don't stand a chance when a guy's that abused.
Oh my God.
He was abused to the point of being tough. It's like when you're bullying your own kid, it's like the Marine. You're either going to have the toughest Marine or he's going to kill himself in training.
Yeah. Or it's Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah. I just watched that the other day.
Yeah.
First half, of course.
Yeah. The good half. Yeah. What was that guy's name?
Gomer Pyle.
Well, yeah, but I guess it was just Gomer Pyle, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah. That movie's so great because it's just like, anybody who's been even slightly bullied or victimized or whatever, it's like the ultimate. And then also you feel bad for Gomer because he is in a world of shit. He's not saying that just to say it.
He's not drama queen on Instagram, just posting it for likes and sympathy.
And do you have any sympathy whatsoever for the sergeant? I just kill him, Gomer. Get him out of there.
Yeah.
If he would have killed Joker, it would have been kind of a bummer, but that would have ended the movie in the proper place.
Yeah.
God damn it. It's like they stuck American Graffiti on the other end of that thing. How can a movie get more boring when it goes to Vietnam? It's like Rush Limbaugh's vacation videos.
Oh man!
There's Rush doing fun stuff. Now he's in Vietnam. The tapes are deleted. What did he do? Oh, OxyContin and some children. It's okay. Is Rush Limbaugh, if you're listening, and the cancer hasn't eaten you to death by now, I'm a huge fan of cancer at this point. I never realized cancer, it does do its thing,
Yeah.
Hopefully. I mean, if he goes into remission,
he beats it.
Yeah. if he pulls a Lance Armstrong, oh my God. Oh, mega dittos, my friends. Let me introduce Eric Trump, the president.
Oh my God, that seems like a beautiful place to end. Thank you guys. Anything we want to mention on the way out? Any shows coming up? What is happening? My brain is.
Same shit as last week.
Always.
Stand-up starts.
We didn't plug anything last week.
Tracy and I will be on tour with and Olivia and Doug. We're going to start in Boise on the 3rd, Spokane on the 5th, and Seattle the 7th and 8th, I believe. But and then a couple more.
San Francisco.
March. And then there's some San Francisco dates and a bunch of other stuff. But we'll definitely be on. Tracy and I will be with Olivia on the first 4 dates of the tour. So
yeah,
that's go to DougStandup.com.
Andy and I might have some San Francisco dates in March too.
We have some very special upcoming announcements. they're already in the can. We just we're being very shy about.
We're just
waiting to release.
Yeah.
TBA. And right now we're keeping them in cages on the border.
They're sleeping under tinfoil blankets.
Yeah. So we'll release them, a little bit at a time. Just the pretty ones. We'll find
very savvy. It's smart. Yeah.
The ugly ones will be back to the fields before you know it. I mean our dates. Right. I'm talking about our tour dates.
Of course you are. Yeah. All right. Well, get out there, everybody. Enjoy a golden plum and a beautiful week. I don't know what else to say at the end. We'll see you next time. That's Chad Shank and Greg Shaley and Andy Andrist, and I'm Brett Erickson. Later.
Ta-ta.
Ta-ta.